Hello, and welcome to Outer Spaces, a podcast dedicated to empowering designers and contractors in the outdoor living space.
Through this show, we hope to create a powerful resource for you, someone who is trying to grow their company but might not have all the tools and processes to do so.
On Outer Spaces, we are passionate about breaking the chains of small mindsets and helping contractors just like you take control of their businesses and their lives. My name is Joshua Gillow.
And I'm Dwayne Drawn.
Through our 40 years of combined dirt under the nails experience, we look forward to sharing tips, strategies, and other contractor success stories here on the Outer Spaces podcast.
Without further ado, let's get on with the show.
Hello, and welcome back to the Outer Spaces podcast. This is your host, Joshua Gillow, alongside my trusty sidekick, Dwayne Drawn. What's going on, Dwayne?
Nothing much, my man. Just working like crazy, jumping through all the hoops and just making it all happen. You know how that works.
Oh yeah, brother. I know that. Always seems like this Tuesday was a marathon for all of us. We've had some just nonstop back-to-back stuff, right?
Yeah. It's. I tell you what, it's been a really interesting 3 weeks. You know, like it's been a lot. I mean, vacation. We were working out in Kentucky. Then we get back, and I mean, we had some stuff to do all last week. So it's really interesting how much work I have not done in the office and how the business is still operating. Like it's sort of I'm sort of surprised that I didn't think I had the systems in place, but it looks like the systems are in place and it's working.
Yeah, that's your best way to figure out if it's working or not. Get the hell out of town for 2 weeks and come back and see if it's still standing. If it is, you're good. If not, start putting some sticks under it.
Yeah, I had to chase a little bit of invoices, get some revenue back up, but there was enough sitting to maintain it. So that's about it.
That's awesome. But that is really the best way to do it, is just get the hell out of town. Because if you're here, you're going to try to fix the gaps and fix the holes in the boat. But if you're gone, you'll know if the ship's going to sink or not. You'll find out pretty damn quick.
Yeah, we found out really fast. So it's working.
That's awesome. That's good. It's definitely heading in the right direction. So today we have a special guest on. He's a father, a husband, entrepreneur, author, and a 4 times Ironman. He was born in Nebraska, grew up in Scotland, and moved to Arizona in 1999. He then started integrated landscape management and grew that business to over 20 million and 350 employees before he sold it. He also has the Commercial Landscapers podcast. So without any further ado, Robert Clinkenbeard, how you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you guys?
Doing fantastic, man. Fantastic. How's
cool? Good to see you both again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, Robert,
let me give you a podcast.
Robert, let me get some stereotypes out the way. You were not born in Scotland? What?
No. Can you not tell by my accent?
You have an accent?
I was born in a small town in Nebraska, Grand Island of Nebraska.
I heard Josh give the interview thing, and I'm thinking, like, did he get it wrong? He said born in Scotland and he lived in Nebraska. So I'm sort of even with the last name and everything, that's not right. You're like,
well, it's funny when I go abroad and come back through customs and passport control. Give them the passport, they look where I was born, and then my accent kicks in, and I talk to them, and I get this weird looks all the time.
It's like two things don't add up here. Something's not quite right.
They don't add up, yeah. Give me that funny look. Should we let this guy in or not?
Yeah. That's awesome.
My son is actually my stepson. His last name is Ramadani. Okay, like try flying back with him.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. You go in that line.
Yeah, you go in that line and you get butt naked.
Yeah, that line, like far away.
Exactly.
And it's African.
You see the gloves come out.
And the crazy part is it's African. It's not even like, whatever they want to call it. It's African, which is the crazy part. So the stereotypes in this world is amazing, what we do to each other.
Oh yeah.
That's sure
that's funny.
No doubt in that. So Robert, what was it like growing up in Scotland? I don't know much about Scotland. What's it like there?
Yeah, it's a beautiful place. People are great, very passionate people, super friendly people. It's green. It's tons of amazing whiskey. Home of golf, of course.
Nice.
So yeah, it's a really cool place, but it can get pretty depressing in terms of it's it can rain a lot. It can get pretty bleak during the winter when the hours, the light hours are very short. So that's part of the reason why we like to drink a lot over there.
Something to do, right?
It's Yeah, something to do. But no, amazing people. I love going back there. My family's still across there. So yeah, I can't say enough about Scotland.
Yeah.
That's fantastic, man. So, all right. So then you moved back to, actually moved to Arizona in 1999. How old were you when you moved back?
Oh, show my age now. I was probably about 35-ish. And yeah, I got fed up with, I'd say, the weather, lack of opportunities in Scotland. And I just thought, you know what, life is too short. I want to be able to explore. I love traveling. So just went back to Arizona just to sort of figure out, do I want to stay there? Do I want to move to a different state? And I ended up just, settling down in Arizona and then started my business in 2001.
That's amazing.
That's wild, because I've been thinking about getting out of America for new opportunities and thinking life is too short. And here you are coming back to America. So that's pretty interesting. So I guess the grass is not greener.
Yeah, I mean, I think, for me, again, amazing people in Scotland, but I'm not sure what happened there, but in terms of just not very entrepreneurial, they're not very pro-business. There's not a great deal of push to be successful over there. So I just felt as though, if at any time anybody got successful over there, I felt as though there was that big movement to try and chop them down a little bit. Mm. So, when I came across actually to Scottsdale to visit, I just saw these people in, beautiful cars, beautiful houses, and these were their second or third houses. And I said to myself, hey, I'm doing something wrong here. Why are all these people living like this? Mm-hmm. And I dug a little bit further, and sure enough, a lot of them were business owners or, Fortune 500 CEOs and just doing really well. And I said, well, how do I get some of this? How do I level up in my lifestyle? And that was probably one of the biggest drivers that I thought, you know what, I want to see what that American dream looks like. And I moved over in 99 and never looked back.
Yeah. When you weigh the difference in between Scotland entrepreneurship and then America, do they foster more family and enjoyment in life better in Scotland? Is that one of the differences?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I think there's definitely an element of, a lot more family focused. There's I think a little bit more reliance on the government to take care of you. I think that's just how the UK has, developed over the years. I mean, yes, of course, there's certainly some pockets of business mindset people over there and entrepreneurs, but I think overall there's certainly just a reliance on the government. You live a slightly lesser lifestyle. And people just they're not really exposed to anything else. They're not really exposed to that better type of lifestyle unless they do travel around the world and their eyes are opened. And that's certainly what happened to me.
Now, did you, when you came here in 1999 and went to Scottsdale, did you already know what you wanted to do, or did you kind of come here and figure it out?
I had my background in horticulture. I got my degree back in Scotland. I was in charge of the city parks over there. So that was certainly where my passion was and, where my experience was. But I was open to anything. Actually, when I first started across in Scottsdale, I was changing out fire sprinkler heads just to, get ingrained into the culture there. I mean, I had no social security number. I had no credit history. So it took me a while really just to sort of try and figure things out. And, it took me probably 2 or 3 years to really figure things out. And then I started to think about, well, what do I want to do? And it was only after networking and talking to other entrepreneurs and getting pushed a little bit towards starting up my own business, I thought, maybe I should give this a go. I mean, I've nothing else stopping me. I don't really have anybody relying on me. So, I just jumped into it in 2001 and, I can't. I really am happy I made that move. Otherwise, I keep thinking about what I would have been doing back in Scotland, and it's night and day the difference.
Wow. That's really incredible. Now, so you come out here. Tell us about how you started. Your business, exactly what you focused on, because going from 0 to 20 million and 315 employees, that's pretty damn spectacular. So I'm curious how you got there and what kind of time frame that looked like, and maybe even some of the hurdles you hit on the way through.
Yeah, I mean, we did it in 15 years. Okay. So it's pretty rapid growth. Didn't have any concept that we would grow that quickly. So yeah, we just started off in the commercial sector. We skipped the whole residential side, but there's challenges in both ways. So we would do all the landscape work during the day, the grass cutting, the shrub trimming, and then after hours we would go out and network with people. We'd meet other business owners, we'd meet some high-end residential people, and just slowly started to get more and more work. And as the business got bigger, then we had that ability to then hire other managers, other people to help us out, so that then we could work on the business. And it was just really making sure we're surrounded by really good people and allowing us to sort of continually work on growing the business. That's how we scaled the business so quickly. We had a great reputation. We had some good backing financially. So yeah, it all worked out really great.
Yeah, what were you guys doing to, like, say your networking is one of the things that Josh and I preach about, like proximity's power, networking is king. What were you guys doing in the evenings? Was it like going to bars? Was it going to networking events? Like what did that look like?
It was mainly going to networking events. So, there's big organizations like IFMA, BOMA, the homeowners associations, CIA, or CEI, I should say. Now, yeah, just getting really involved, but not only attending the events, but then, what can we do to then join a committee? What can we do then to build the trust of the people that are meeting there, rather than just going out there and passing out cards? I mean, that's so people are so put off by that. But really, how do we get that relationship from a tier 1 to a tier 3 level, hanging out with them, having dinners with them, taking them out for drinks? So that's the things we were doing during the evenings.
That's awesome. Yeah, I can definitely see how that'll start to build that trust and rapport. And then once you know 1 or 2, and then 5 or 10, and then 20 or 50, and pretty soon it just keeps expanding and expanding. And it's a lot easier if somebody can refer you and say, this is a good person to talk to. Robert's the guy you need to talk to about your HOA. This guy's been doing this forever. And pretty soon you just start picking these pieces up. Is that how you felt it happen?
Yeah, I mean, I think once you start building that trust with certain clients, I mean, a lot of them don't have necessarily, one property. They might have several properties. And then not only do you do a good job for them, then they're referring you to other people. But I mean, trust is so key. And then I think one of the differentiators for us was, when a lot of landscapers unfortunately have that reputation for, beat up trucks, dirty trucks, landscape debris flying everywhere. But, we made a really good job of sort of trying to professionalize our company. And that was through, nicer trucks. Everybody was in uniforms, nice branding and logos on the trucks. We kept them all nice and clean. We actually had a power washing company come in every couple of weeks, clean all our trucks. So it really made a huge effort to take our company professionalism to another level. That was one thing. But then the second thing with that is that we almost turned our company into almost landscaping was secondary, but we took our company to more of that being a sales and marketing company, meaning that, we were training our team, our account managers, or landscape professionals in the field to know how to sell to their clients, know to have that sales conversations. We brought in, Sandler sales training. We were constantly pushing our professionals to go out and give proposals, follow up with proposals. We put sales targets on them. So that was really, again, some of the big drivers for the rapid growth. And not only the rapid growth, but, high profitability as well. Becoming that sales and marketing machine. So every time, somebody came in, then, we had that whole sales process documented.
Yeah. Hey,
I love that.
Don't mute that. Like, keep that going. That's real. I don't mind the phone ringing. Like, this is real. I mean, we're talking to a really important guy and he has a lot going on. So don't mute that. Just keep that popping.
Yeah, sorry. It's an office phone that I don't have any control over.
No worries.
Yeah.
If it's ringing, that's a good thing, right?
So during the growth of this operation, you're bringing in new employees. How did you manage that financial aspect? Were you getting outside loans? Were you saving money up for several months? Talk about how you put your team together.
So initially, we did, I sold my truck. We used a lot of credit card debt just to sort of get the business off the ground. But, we knew pretty early on that we struggled with the financial part of the business. So, we hired a good bookkeeper. And it was only probably after 2 years in business that we were able to approach the banks. I mean, banks wouldn't even look at us the first couple of years just because we're such a new company. But probably after 2.5 years, we probably got maybe 75,000 as a line of credit. And as we built up that credit history, we had good reputation out there. Then we started to increase our line of credit. So, and I think another game changer for us was, initially we were making the mistake of we were billing our monthly recurring, lawn service, maintenance at the end of the month. And we said, well, why are we doing this? We actually had a consultant come in and give us a nudge, but we ended up changing that to billing at the beginning of the month. So that by the time they paid after 15 or 30 days, it was usually by the time we finished our service. So that was a big game changer in just helping to cash flow a business.
Yeah. Nice. No, that's awesome. So let's go back to, you mentioned something earlier about having each one of your team members, quote unquote, be salespeople for the company. When did you realize that'd be a good idea? How did that affect your business and how did that impact your growth with that mindset?
I don't know if you've ever come across somebody called Chet Holmes. So Chet Holmes wrote a book, I think, called The Sales Machine. So a few of my partner and I, we had, I think, one of the other leaders, we went to a Chet Holmes event and just came away thinking, wow, we're not even scratching the surface on what our sales messaging or marketing looks like. So from that moment onwards, we actually brought in that company to help develop sales messaging, sales tools, or elevator pitch. So it was a real campaign. We probably spent about 6 months really dialing that in, even to the point where if we went in to do sales presentations to clients or property managers, then it was really dialed in. We had a PowerPoint presentation in place. We knew what we were going to see at every single slide. But, it took us 6 to 9 months to really dial that in. But once we dialed it in and really addressed the pain points for our clients, it almost felt as though we were bringing in new accounts hand over fist, because we felt as though we'd really hit the point of, that pain point of clients. Nobody had ever done that before. So it was huge for us, a big game changer.
No, it's really cool. I know that we've figured that out along the way as well. That, oftentimes businesses focus on sales being a one person or a one group task and everyone else just does their thing. But in reality, the entire team speaking the same sales language, the same, hot buttons, the same pain points that the clients have, and constantly know how to, come back with a great statement or come back with a solution for them, and having the same dialogue throughout, no matter who they're talking to in the company, whether it's the front lines or it's the designer or it's the estimator or it's the people installing. And I mean, having that dialogue always about the same really helps with that, the communication side of things, so that the client can feel like they're kind of all well-handed by one large hand, as opposed to 50 little hands that have different opinions about everything. And like, don't listen to George. George knows what he's talking about. This is how you're supposed to do this. And when you start seeing that come into a group, what happens is you start losing trust, and the client starts thinking, wait a minute here, is that just one person's idea? What about the other ones that are actually building this project, or the other ones actually designing this project, and they don't even believe the same stuff that their boss is telling them, or whatever. You know what I mean? So having that everyone rowing in the same direction is huge when it comes to building that trust and rapport with your customers.
No, for sure. And one of big game changer, eye opener for us was we did some exercises where we did some role playing, and just to hear some of the stuff that was coming out of their mouths was just like, oh my word, do I have some managers saying that to our clients?
Yeah.
So it was definitely eye-opening for us. So from that moment onwards, we made sure we did role-playing every single week.
It's important.
Just talking about a topic or a subject, and really tweaked every single week. So it became really comfortable for them.
That's super important, the role play side. And that's why, here with our program, our sales program, it's weekly role play. And it's some of the most embarrassing things at times, especially when the guys and gals come in the first times around. They've never played role play before. And, it's interesting because then they hear themselves talk and then they mess up and I'm like, you actually say that to people? Just to your point, you know what I mean? You're like, really, you actually have that kind of a conversation? No. Here's how we're going to do it. And here's how you bring out this word. And here's how you pause. And here's how you have an upward inflection with a question. And you start, people do that naturally, but they're never aware of it. And once they become aware of it, they can do it better because what you can see, you can actually measure, right? So it's so much fun, the role play side of things, and a little awkward in the beginning, but so powerful throughout.
Oh yeah, especially if you record it.
Oh, no doubt. Especially like week one, we have 8 weeks in our process, 7 weeks of direct, and it's like the first week, and then you show them at the last week. They're like, "Who the hell is that person?" Like, I don't even recognize who they are. It's so much fun that way. That's really cool. Yeah. So for sure. Now, as far as obviously, you grew a very large business pretty quickly. So what are some of the challenges you ran into along that way? You mentioned financing in the beginning until you got more established, but what are some things that you ran into, and how did you solve some of those problems?
Probably people would be the biggest thing. I think at a certain point, I felt as though the business was getting so big that I wasn't able to keep in touch with my clients. So I went through a process of really finding some key managers that we actually got from the golf course industry. I brought them in as account managers and then coached and developed them to become eventually branch managers. So they eventually became my 4 branch managers, 3 in Phoenix, 1 up in Vegas. And again, they were just rock stars. I mean, initially they were coming in and they were looking at, there was like a revolving door in my office where I was giving them all the answers. And there's a little bit of ego there. But I thought, well, I'm really enabling those managers. So I changed it in terms of when they came in asking to fix a problem. I said, well, how would you deal with it? So it developed them into becoming better managers, better leaders. And through time, they were running almost like their own little mini company. They were looking anywhere from 3 to 7 million of branches. And they were dealing with, all the revenue, they were dealing with the sales, they were dealing with all the operations. And I think it was just through that careful mentoring and coaching over the years that helped. And then the second piece of that is giving them direction of where the company is going. So everybody was completely aligned. So we had some revenue numbers, we had some, we had some growth challenges. We were going to different markets, but we all knew where we were going, and each of them knew exactly what they needed to do to be part of that, effectively part of that roadmap. So, they had every single week they would report on their sales numbers, they would report on their gross margin for labor, material charges, and again, it allowed that alignment amongst the team. And they knew where they needed to pick up or hit their targets. And so that allowed every area to work independently from me. And I was able to then come in and check in them weekly, monthly. It allowed me to do my trips, allowed me to do my Ironman racing 20 plus hours a week. And that was only because I took the time in hiring the right people to run those different branches and divisions for me. If I didn't have that, then there's no way that company could have grown, and we went on to that eventual sale.
Robert, I hear a lot of guys saying there's it's very tough to make money, like in maintenance, mowing, and things like that. How did you pull that off? Like, where was it at?
Maintenance that recurring revenue is nice because, it does improve your valuation. That you can rely on that monthly income coming in. But I think the key for us was, building that sales machine. So then we were able to upsell on work within that maintenance accounts. So we were selling anywhere from 80 to 120% value of that maintenance contract in enhancements on that job.
Okay.
And not only were we having that amount of upselling, but we were also making really nice margins, anywhere from 50 to 60 to 65%, depending on the type of work. Yeah. So those are again, real game changers for us, is that, maintenance is almost gets you in the door. And it's nice to have that reoccurring revenue to pay the bills. But where you make the money is on all the upgrades, all the tree pruning, flower planting, mulch or granite, wherever you are in the country. And you make some good margin on that. And you've built that trust with the client. So it's a relatively easy sell.
So maintenance was sort of, because I hear this a lot and you hear from like larger companies. So maintenance are more or less your marketing engine. And from that point, you basically manage your upsells and you grew the business from that.
Yeah, maintenance was definitely, we attracted them by competitive pricing to get them in the door, built up that trust with them. And then once we were in that door and we built up that trust, then we had this professional sales and marketing campaign to sell them on upgrades on the property.
We were, when I used to have a maintenance lawn care company with a commercial account, we were like $36,000 a year to maintain this property. And 4 years we managed it, maintained it. And after the fourth year, I get a phone call from the director and she says, hey, I love you guys. You guys are doing amazing work. But she said, my whole office is looking at a bid for $18,000. And I'm like, first you downplay the company, like 18,000, that's going to be a garbage company, blah, 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 blah. And she said, no, it's not a garbage company. And it was like, Brickman. So I'm sitting here looking like they undercutted us. By almost half. How in the world were they doing that? And we're like, we were making money, but it's really just three of us running this company. We're maintaining these properties and they undercutted us by, half. But I look as they were working about a year in, I look up and I drop, you drive past in anger, like, effers, they took my job. You look over and there's this big, huge brick paver, thing going in, there's trees going in. It's probably like a $500,000 project going on. And they were obviously involved in it. So they knew how to upsell, get in for some cheap prices, and then just their salesman probably just kept whacking them in the head for changes every other day. That's probably what happened. Yeah.
Yeah, that, and also just, is there a genuine way that you can maintain a property a little bit more efficient? Is there other properties nearby which they're already doing, so it makes the windshield time between properties a little bit easier? So, there's multiple different things that we looked at. Again, when we had a big property that came up to bid, we looked at it from 10 different angles just to see, how tight can we get it? How much money do they typically spend on capital improvements a year? What's coming down the pipeline? So yeah, that's typically what we did when we really sliced and diced a new opportunity that came in the door.
Okay, so there was a completely different look at it, because when we hit the property, it was our entire day. Like I said, it was 3 guys, 1 truck, and we had our machines. They probably pull up with 4 or 5 trucks, knock it out in 3 hours, and they're hitting 3 or 4 other properties on that same day. So I see what you're saying. And then their salesman is probably meeting with them once a month and going over improvements and changes. So there's a totally different mindset on how they approached it.
Yeah.
We approach it like it was like Josh says, the homecoming queen. They've already been boning the homecoming queen.
That's funny. Now, Robert, you mentioned before about coaching your team and leading them and all of that. Now, to our listeners out there that are either new business owners or trying to grow their business, how did you get the tools you needed as a team to be able to coach and mentor your team to grow? You know what I mean? Because how did you get them? Because you obviously have to be, further down the runway in order to help others along the way. So what did you find that help in that direction?
Yeah, probably 2 or 3 different sources. I myself had a coach, I had consultants come in, I had fractional CFOs come in just at different stages of my business. I joined a business group called Entrepreneurs Organization, EO, and again, surrounded by other business owners, different sizes, different industries, and I learned a lot from them. So I really, and that group even had, speakers, presenters. As I say, one of them was at Chet Holmes. We had Vern Harnish was Scaling Up. So I just tried to soak in as much of that education and learning that I could. And rather than just go back and, vomit all over my team with all this information, I'm just very selective on what are 2 or 3 things that we can adopt to improve the business every single year. And so that's where we came up with using platforms like, Traction EOS, then moved into the Scaling Up, and just to build that roadmap and develop some rocks and some of the things that we were going to work on during the next 12 months. And it was important to not only share that, but to get the buy-in from your teams, because it's all very well you coming back and say, I want to do this, this, and this, but it's not going to get anywhere unless you get buy-in from your, managers. So I was just very careful about what information I consumed and then what information I shared and suggested that we implement in the company.
I love that, especially EOS, Gino Wickman, and also he's so smart. He actually has books for the employees as well to read and understand, what's in it for me. Why should I care? Why should I go after this crazy harebrained idea the boss has, right? But it puts them in perspective, and that's quite an incredible book, an incredible concept. The EOS is quite amazing for sure. We talk about that a lot being, if you want to grow your business, you're going to have to get around people that have already done it. And for them, what you're struggling with is something they might have struggled with 20 years ago or 10 years ago. And they're already, eons beyond that. And they can show you the paths around those pitfalls and help you through those spots. But sometimes, especially as guys in this, in the industries, regardless of the industry, we have our egos that sit out there in our shirt sleeves and we're too proud to ask for help. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh man, if somebody tells me I'm doing it wrong, what the hell is that going to mean to me? And oh my goodness. So, how do you manage that? How do you manage that in a team if they kind of stuck in their ways? And how does mindset and shifting of mindset change that for you?
Yeah, I mean, that's huge right there. I mean, you do have to change your mindset. You do have to figure out, there's no way you're going to get to that. Whatever that ultimate goal looks like in 10, 15, 20 years, it's unlikely you're going to be able to do that yourself. So the quicker you drop that ego and find the people around you who's going to get you there. Again, there's another great book, Who Not How, Dan Sullivan, and just talk about, you can have all the goals you want, but it's who do you know around you that's either going to, either work internally within your team or that help to connect you to other people that are going to get you towards that ultimate goal. So I think ego is nice to some degree, but I think the quicker you understand that you don't know everything in business, most of us didn't go to school and then suddenly come out of school and saying, I want to be a business owner. They usually fall into it by having a good trade or a good skill set, and then suddenly they've got this business worth $1 million or $2 million. And it's like, well, I didn't know how I got there. What do I need to do to grow to the next level? So, there's so many people out there, especially in the landscape industry, who are so humble and willing to share information with others. It's probably one of the best industries out there for people being willing to do that. So, the more questions you ask, the more time you spend listening, I think that's just going to really help you in your business growth in the future.
Nice.
I love
Robert,
that.
when you were growing, were there a lot of companies like yours, or you meaning the growth and the size, or you were basically putting together your own beast by yourself? Yes.
Within my market, there was a few other companies like ours. I mean, I felt as though at the beginning we were groundbreaking in terms of not only the professionalism and the branding and the trucks and then the whole sales and marketing and then hiring the right people. So I always felt as though we were leading the way in our industry. And then, then people start to copy you. It's funny how you then start seeing similar trucks to yours driving down the streets. You start to see people in uniform. So, I mean, in some ways, it allowed us to try and stay ahead of the game, making sure we're staying ahead of our competitors. But it gets tougher every single year because, there's so many things you can latch on to. But we were always, again, learning. We were always looking at new technology and seeing what can we differentiate our company compared to the competition.
Yeah, as much as copying drive you insane, it's really a compliment. Like they're seeing greatness in you guys, and they're like, okay, if it's working for them, let's implement that on our side. Like it drives us, and our ego doesn't like it because it knows that that's what we're doing to make money, and then somebody copies it, pisses you off. I sort of felt like that. Actually, just recently had an incident where I sort of felt like I was being copied, but it was really respect. Like the guy saw something great in me and he wanted to give me like, hey, if it's working for Dwayne, he's very professional. I want to be like that. And it created like this anger for like 10, 12 years. And I actually just cleaned it up with him. Was it January, Joshua? It was January.
January, February,
I cleaned it up with him. And after maybe 15, 16 years of just being upset, feeling like I was being copied. And there was actually times that I actually copied them too, but I noticed they were popping up on the radar from doing some of the things we were doing. And I took it as a threat. And this whole 15, 16 years of anger, I was able to shake his hand and basically thank him, for what he did. He created an animal in me. So we created an animal in each other. And actually we're hanging out next week. So it's pretty nice. Yeah. We're hanging out in Florida next week. So it's pretty nice. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, oftentimes guys in this business, especially led by ego, and again, that's a very common thing. It's always about trying to beat the competition. Your focus is so hard chasing that competition that you're behind them, watching them, and as they move, you're moving. So if you're in that path and you're constantly focused on chasing tails, then you're always going to be behind them. That's what it is. Now, if each day you decide that you're going to be better than you were, no one else, but you were yesterday, every day you're growing beyond where you were the day before, and you're killing your clone from the day before, and you're growing, then you won't have competition because you're going to be one-upping yourself, not chasing somebody else's tail. And that'll eventually put you out in front when you're creating your own world, focused on your ideal client and their exact needs, wants, and has a shift with economy and shift with time that you're shifting and moving with them. And it's such an important piece there for sure to make sure that you're holding on to the zig and the zag of the business world for sure, but only staying in competition with yourself and constantly improving that way, keeping your eyes out, seeing look at the lay of the land, look for the tigers, look for the gazelles, but at the same time you're like, I'm forging my own path and I know we're on the right track, and I'm gonna just keep focusing on being better than I was yesterday, not chasing somebody else.
No, well said. Yeah, you burn up so much energy in trying to chase other people and getting burnt with actions of other people. Just focus on yourself and your team members and how can you improve. So yeah, I'm a big believer in that.
Cool. Now, Robert, so you sold the company. Then what? What'd you do next? What are you doing now?
I'm coaching. I love coaching people.
Nice.
So yeah, I left roughly 3-4 years ago, and I just felt as though I'd still so much to give, and everything I'd learned I wanted to be able to share with other people. So moved into doing coaching. So coach landscape companies, coach other contractors, all people, companies around the country, in fact, even across into Europe, and just help them make less mistakes than I did, because I made quite a few of them. Mm-hmm. But if there's a way in which they can make less mistakes and come up with some type of a planned exit and really utilize that value of the company and build up that value, then I feel as though I've done my job. So I love being able to go in and help people, and especially now there's so many people out there having challenges with labor, material challenges, prices going up. So there's a lot of challenges out there. But nice being able to help them.
Robert, what's your commonality like when you go into these companies, and just maybe one or two biggest common issues that you see a lot, that once you get that out of the way, then you can start working on some of the other stuff? Like, what is that?
First of all, getting the owners or leadership team to be open to listening and learning. and making changes. And then the second piece is really around the people part, is making sure that they have the right people in place and they're giving them enough direction and enough KPIs and where's the company going. I think once you have that type of alignment, you can really take that company to another level.
Nice. Okay.
That's awesome. Now, Robert, do you focus on, when you're coaching companies or even developing companies, focusing on starting with the end in mind, that whole concept? Is that something that you guys work with?
Very much so.
Yeah. And how does that impact decisions and all that for anyone out there that doesn't understand what that is?
No, I mean, it's huge in terms of, a lot of people just, I think, just get consumed with dealing with the day-to-day fires that come in. And I'm more focused on, where's the company going? Where do you want to be in 5, 10, 15, 20 years? And then start working backwards. If you want some type of a successful exit, or that exit might even be spending more time working, with the family, and you have somebody else running the business, then what do we need to do to get to that point? What are some of the building blocks or the people or the things we need to put in place to get there? And then start working back. It might take, 1, 2, 3 years to get there. But let's think about the end in mind.
Now,
first.
Robert, should all of us be focusing?
It's kind of like if you're going to go on vacation, you had 2 weeks off, and you're like, all right, well, I'm just going to get in a car and drive. That's how most people run their businesses, right? They just get in the car and they just drive, and they don't even know where they're going. They're just kind of, they're in a car and they're not working, so they don't care. They're having a good time, and maybe they catch a sunset, maybe they catch the beach. Who knows? Wherever they go, but. Like most people that do plan vacations, they say, look, I want to get to, let's just say, Scottsdale, Arizona is my target. What's the fastest way there? How long is it going to take us to get there? What kind of pitfalls will we run into? Where's the traffic? Who can we pay to sit in the car with us as we go through this process, so they can tell us and guide us as we move through this crazy thing called life. And, that's ultimately the better way. But knowing your goal, your end, where you're ending is going to be a huge part of that whole success cycle. So you can focus all your attention to getting there for sure.
No, that's hugely important. And I can't stress that enough when I go into companies. And sometimes it'll take a while to get to that point. But, once that light bulb comes on, it's like, wow, okay, I didn't even think about that. And it's definitely a game changer.
For sure. And, even quantifying exactly why they're in business. Is it just to keep them busy? Is it to, provide a better family life for their family and their friends and all that stuff? Is it to for achievement? Like, what is the big pusher here? And if it is, you better be really, really real with yourself and not pretend it's for the family when really it's for you, or pretend it's for, achievement, but really it's for, something that you can walk around and pound your chest and wear the big name and say, look, I own that, so to be really authentic and real and deep down vulnerable to figure out what that is so that you can really direct that. Because if you're faking it, it's going to be obvious after a while and you're not going to be happy with the results anyway.
Yeah, and people are not going to follow you.
Yeah, exactly.
People are not following you in the company, and you're going to get people leaving the company because you're not genuine. You don't have that real purpose. You're not living that purpose. So if you're real about it and you've got something that people can get behind, then more likely your retention is going to dramatically increase.
Absolutely. Well, Robert, it's been a ton of fun here. I've really enjoyed our conversation. So how can people find you? You say that you do coaching now and all of that. How can people find you and see what you're about and see if you're a good fit for them to help them get to the next level?
Yeah, for sure. No, so LinkedIn, Robert Clinkenbeard at LinkedIn, and then my website, which is the radixgroupllc.com. So RADIX. So the radixgroupllc.com. And then, people can check out some of my courses. I've got my books on sale there, and I'd love people to check it out and see if there's any way I can help them out.
I appreciate that, Robert. And anybody out there listening, check out Robert. He's the real deal. He's done some amazing things, and I'm sure he has lots of information within his books and teaching and training that could help you get to the next level and be able to live that life that you've always dreamed of, and keep focused on what that end goal might be. If it's selling, if it's eventually you want to cash out, or you want to give it off to your children, or whatever that goal might be. So so guys, if you like what you hear today on the podcast, our goal is to impact and empower, 1 to 2 million contractors out there in the next 5 years. So if you have a friend, just 1 or 2 friends that you think would see value in listening to a podcast like this, share it with them. It's the best thing. It's the biggest honor you can give us, is to share what we do in order to help more and more people. So that's really how we're going to get there, and how the whole entire industry is going to level up based on everybody having more communication, not trying to, hide all their ideas and keep all those away, but to share them, because then we all grow and we all benefit from it. So thanks again, Robert. And everyone, thank you for tuning in. We'll be back with you next week.